Hello, traders. Welcome to a quick recap for this week. Right now, we are at Tuesday, 3:20 a.m. We just right into the London session. So, over the previous weekend or last Friday, basically, the biggest event was the healthcare bill that had been pulled out at the last minute prior to the market close on Friday. But prior to that, Friday, Thursday, we had a very strong risk of sentiment. Market was seriously doubting over Donald Trump's ability. And as I mentioned, that why this healthcare bill is significant is not really only because the healthcare bill itself. It's also because it's a major bill for Donald Trump, and market is waiting to see whether he has the ability as a president to really control the Congress or really say what he's going to say. And unfortunately, that was not the case. He had a lot of resistance from his own party. So the market closed quite risk. Sentiment is quite off on Friday. And on Sunday, as many of you know, we had a huge gap down in all the Japanese yen pair. Also, a huge safe haven inflow. That was really the main events yesterday. Now, today, right now, really we don't have much economic release coming up for this session or next. So the market will most likely trading around with sentiment. And if you want to read more, as I mentioned, in about a couple days, I'm going to be taking off. So not really going to make this kind of video for at least a month, but you could go to my website, and I did write, 28, 27. I actually had uploaded, if you want to read through basically a session recap. So for today, March 28th, all the way from last Asian session, London, New York to the Asian again. So really, you can read through it, but basically the sentiment right now, we did have some recovery, and the Asian equity and right now the European equity all opens in green. So the risk sentiment seems to be on for now. However, you have to understand the risk sentiment can change very, very fast. So I wouldn't really recommend you just trading the risk sentiment itself, because sometimes you will, have a lot of ups and down movement. So you're really looking for that main catalyst that was driving the market. So yesterday the risk sentiment was off, and there was a very strong catalyst all the way from Friday's healthcare bill. Today, not so much. So we will have to see what's coming up next. So what's coming up next, really the main events for this week, I think, is the Article 50 that is about to be triggered on Wednesday. So of course, because of that, my main focus is still on the British pound. And British pound had a huge uptrend yesterday. And really right now, it can't go either direction. The reason is because we have a large short seller for the futures market for British pound that is building up quite well. But also don't forget, we always have this kind of buy rumor sell effect coming into the forex market. So you have to be careful when shorting British pound. And I certainly got caught up because yesterday I short pound yen because Japanese yen was very strong, and unfortunately yen was very strong against all other currency except British pound. So I actually picked the only loser. And the reason, again, there wasn't many catalysts for a British pound. It's just a huge profit taking ahead of the events, because pound had dropped over the weekend already. So a lot of people basically want to sit on the sideline heading into the Article 50 event. Now, what's going to happen for Article 50? Really, you have to understand, this event is not a surprise. Everybody know it's going to be triggered, so that's why it's really hard to tell. I'm personally have a bias toward downside movement. I think at least initially we should have some downside movement right after the triggering of Article 50, but that doesn't mean it's gonna continue forever. On the contrary, after that risk event, you might see a large buying or short covering into British pound, because economically speaking, Bank of England did mention that they are more hawkish and they might have to tighten interest rate because of the higher inflation. So although Article 50 trigger is an unstable event for UK, but it really depends on how market digests to it, and up to now market has been digested pretty well, so might not be that much of a big event to trade through it. So that's why you have to be careful. So for this session, really I'm still leaning toward buying a safe haven currency only if the risk sentiment has shifted to the downside. Right now we are at risk on sentiment. It shows up in Asian equity, European equity. Also, you have a strong WTI, copper, and zinc, metal market basically recovered. Gold went down, bond went down. So just a very correlated risk on sentiment. So of course I don't want to go against with that. I do want to trade into a safe haven currency, but if today is a risk on sentiment day, then I will go with the flow to buy other pairs against Japanese yen. So my game plan right now is to buy Japanese yen, but that's because I was looking for a risk of sentiment. But if we don't have that today, then I will be selling Japanese yen, and what I'm looking to buy is euro. I'm looking to buy euro. You can buy Aussie and New Zealand as well, especially Australian dollar had a huge drop previously. So if you have a good level today, you can buy Aussie yen. But for euro, it's because we have a month-end inflow, and also ECB members have been quite hawkish recently. Yesterday, the German IFO climate was very, very well. And last week, we have a consecutive of positive PMIs from European nations. So right now, euro is really a very strong risk, a very strong bullish sentiment, a good pair to look out for. Also, Angela Merkel had won an election. Her party had won the election recently, so that all comes down. French election, Macron won the debate. Dutch election was a good result for euro. So euro is pretty have confident right now. So that's what I'm looking at to buy at the next session or two. But if you are trading intraday, be careful for the risk sentiment. So keep an eye on the equity market, and that's really going to drive the main market. And also keep an eye on the news, because anything coming up from the White House or even from the UK could shift the sentiment very fast. So that's pretty much what I have for intraday position right now. And as I mentioned, that's what I'm pretty much going to be focused on for the next quarter or two. It's because that's what I want to be, get good at first before I go back to swing trade. Swing trade, I then mentioned, had a bit problem for myself. Couldn't really find a good strategy for now, so I will have to work on more. So for now, for this session, trade with the sentiment. Right now it seems to be a risk on sentiment, so you can go with euro yen, you can buy Aussie yen. That's really the two best bet. I will pretty much try to stay away from US dollar, because US dollar just have such internal bearish sentiment, so try to stay out of it. British pound, I am in pound yen myself, but this is a more of a longer term trade, because I'm trying to trade into Wednesday's risk events. I'm now already got in at 139.09, so I'm really pound yen trying to catch that initial downfall for Wednesday. If I can have 100 pips or so, I will wrap it up, because I think after the triggering of Article 50, you might have a huge rebound into British pound. So that's it for this session, and to next session. Now coming up, important events is the you have the USD consumer confidence. You have Bank of Canada's government policy speaks. Now for Canada, there were two pretty positive events. First is the Keystone Pipeline that was signed already, so that's a good news for the Canadian shale producers. The other one is the OPEC, that seems that they are going to extend the output curve. So two positive news for the oil market, hence for Canadian dollar. However, the crude oil inventory for US is still very excessive. It's still an oversupply. So that is something you have to take into consideration. And also, Bank of Canada itself still is very dovish. So that's why today I'm looking out for government policy speaks, whether he's going to comment on the recent Keystone Pipeline or he's going to comment on the oil market overall to give us a better direction. And then you have a Janet Yellen speaks, Ether speaks, Kaplan speaks, all the Federal Reserve member, Jerome speaks, and that's pretty much it. So not really have economic release, more like a central bank speakers, which can be important. And then really the market should be trading with the sentiment all the way until Wednesday. We'll really finally have a main event, which is the triggering of Article 50. Okay, so I'll be back in the next analysis, but for now, personally, I am in Peng Yen. My chart is very messy for the intraday because it's a such shortened time frame. But just give you a quick recap, I'm shorting Peng Yen because of this downtrend, pull back at this 50% level, which is also 139 handle. I have other support and resistance in this area in a higher time frame. So basically, this is a more of a longer swing trade setup. Shorting here, stop loss way above 140.45. I'm just looking to hit 138 or maybe 137.50 tomorrow, from today till tomorrow, prior to triggering Article 50, which I think we should have some downside movement. Another trade, intraday trade, I am currently in. I'm actually in dollar yen short, but because the risk sentiment is still quite in a positive territory, so I might actually just get out because I don't want to go against the sentiment. I'm also long euro dollar, same thing. I pretty much just want to get out because I again don't want to go against with the sentiment. So since we don't have a negative sentiment, I'm really not going to buy Japanese yen for this session unless the sentiment change. So that means I'm really looking to buy Aussie yen or looking to buy Euro yen. Euro yen, if you are intraday trade, 120 is an obvious wrong number to buy. 119.50, but I don't really think we'll go that low. So 120, this will be a good area if we can hit there. So that's pretty much it. As for Aussie yen, if you want to buy Aussie yen, right now it's still a strong downtrend. So we'll see what happens. You might have a double bottom right now in 15-minute chart, but since it's a short-term time frame, by the time I upload video, by the time you watch it, it's gonna be completely different. So use your own criteria, I guess. But in terms of fundamental pictures or sentimental pictures, really go with the sentiment because we don't really have much catalyst for today for now. Of course, if anything come up, that will completely change the pictures. So as for now, that's what my game plan is. And other than that, Wednesday, watch out for the triggering of Article 50. Okay, so that's it for now. Very short video. If you have any question, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'll be back for the next session recap. See you soon. Bye bye.